there, let me tell you how nice it is in the morning when you don't really know what you're going to make for breakfast to pull something out of the fridge or the freezer, heat it up in the microwave or the air fryer for a little bit, and then there you go. You have a delicious meal to enjoy. So today we are going to be doing a massive breakfast meal prep, and this has to be my favorite meal prep of all time. And I do have some exciting news. My meal plan that I have been telling you about for a little while now, it is live. You could get your hands on it today. I know how difficult it is to come up with different meals every single week, every single month for your family, and to create different shopping lists and, just find delicious recipes. So this meal plan is going to help you guys so much throughout the month, and I really just can't wait for you to see it. It is linked down below this video for you. Now let's go get to cooking. To start us off today, we are making my favorite breakfast sandwiches. So I have a 9x13 baking dish right here. I'll spray it with plenty of nonstick spray so the egg doesn't stick. And into the baking dish, I added in 10 eggs, just crack those eggs in. And then I added in 1/3 cup of milk, and I gave this a really good whisk to, break the egg yolks. Now you're going to want to add in your favorite toppings. So I'm just adding in 1 diced yellow onion and about 1.5 cups of fresh chopped spinach. But you could add in diced ham if you'd like. You could add in like cooked sausage or cooked crumbled bacon, really anything you like, add it in. I also added in a dash of salt and pepper, and this baked in my oven on 350 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. Once it was out of the oven and the egg was completely cooled down, I started on the English muffins. So I just broke apart my English muffins and I pulled out my large round cookie cutter, and I am just going to cut the egg into large circles, as you could see here. That way the egg will fit really nicely on the English muffins. So I'm just going to place the egg right on the English muffins, and you might be wondering what I am going to do with the remaining egg left in the pan. I am of course not going to let it go to waste. I'm just going to place it on some of the English muffins, and some of them just won't have perfectly round eggs on top, and that is just fine. So now I am also going to be adding some sausage on top. I am just using this fully cooked sausage from Walmart, but you could use any type of fully cooked sausage that you like. And of course, if you don't care for sausage, you could always use bacon as a substitute, or really anything that you enjoy. I'm also placing slices of cheddar cheese on top of the sausage because I just love cheese. Place the tops on the English muffins, and then there you go. You have the most delicious, beautiful English muffins. And you might be wondering how I store them. So over time, I've learned the best way to store them in the freezer without getting freezer burnt is to first wrap them in a layer of wax paper, not plastic wrap, wax paper. That way the wax paper will not stick to the sandwiches. I've done plastic wrap in the past, but I've found that the plastic wrap does stick to the breakfast sandwiches. So wrap it in wax paper and then aluminum foil, and then place it into a large freezer bag. And these will last in your fridge for up to a week and your freezer for up to 2 months. And once they are frozen, the way I like to reheat them is I, of course, remove the foil and the wax paper. I place it on a microwave safe plate, and I microwave this for 1 to 2 minutes or until it is hot. And if you don't want to microwave it, you could, of course, always air fry it. And then there you go. You have your delicious breakfast sandwich. Now we're making these mini egg bites. So to begin, on my cutting board right here, I'm going to dice up 1 white onion super small. I'm also going to chop up a handful of fresh spinach, and I'm going to dice 1 red bell pepper. Make sure you cut your veggies super small because these are mini egg bites, so you don't want like the pepper and the onion to overpower the egg bite. Now into this big bowl, I'm adding 13 eggs right in there. I'm also going to add in 1/3 cup of milk and whisk this together super well to break the yolks. Now you'll want to toss in the veggies that we just cut up, and you could really add any veggies in these egg bites and really any meat that you enjoy. So I'm also adding in 8 ounces of diced ham, but you could add in bacon, sausage, anything that you love. For the seasonings, I added in a teaspoon of salt and pepper with onion powder and garlic powder. Then I gave this a really good stir. Now I pulled out my mini silicone muffin pan. I love this thing so much just because the egg does not stick to it at all. And I just poured a little bit of that egg mixture in, and this baked in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 12 minutes. And of course, I did make a lot more than this batch of egg bites because I had a lot more egg left in my bowl. So I made a total of about 53 egg bites. I know it's quite a bit of egg bites, but I will eat about 3 to 4 of these for breakfast, and my husband will eat about 5, and my kids eat like 1 to 2 for breakfast. So we do eat a few for breakfast every morning, but here's what they look like in the end once they're completely cooled down. And the way that I like to store them is in a bag. So I just grab a freezer bag and I place the egg bites in standing up like this. I don't like to overlap them on top of each other just because I don't want them to freeze together. So here's what they look like in my freezer. And then the way that I like to reheat these is just on a plate. I place however many egg bites I want to on the plate, and then I microwave them for about 20 to 30 seconds or until they're hot. I personally like to eat them with salsa on the side, but my husband loves eating them with hot sauce, so just enjoy them how you'd like to. These baked oatmeal cups have been one of my family's favorite breakfasts for years, so to get them started, into a big bowl, add in your 2 cups of old-fashioned oats along with a teaspoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a dash of salt, and then give these ingredients a really good stir. Now you're going to want to add in kind of like your not so dry ingredients. So toss in 1 3/4 cup of milk along with 1/3 cup of maple syrup. If you don't have maple syrup on hand, you could always use honey as a substitute. Also add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of melted butter, and then for the fruit, we like to use frozen or fresh blueberries and about 2 cups of them. I've tried this with other fruit, and this is just our favorite using blueberries. The last thing I added in was 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and I gave this a really good stir. Now I pulled out my regular sized silicone muffin pan, and I'm going to spray it with some nonstick spray. This is already like really nonstick, but I like to add some nonstick spray so they don't stick. Now fill up your muffin pan and bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. Once these were out of the oven and completely cooled down, I placed them into a large freezer bag, and I don't know what I was thinking. I wrote breakfast burritos on the bag, but I totally meant to write oatmeal cups. Like I said, I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I could blame it on mom brain. But after I placed these in a bag, I just froze them. And then my favorite way of reheating these is I like to place a couple into a bowl or however many you are going to eat. Microwave this for 1 to 2 minutes or until they are hot, and then we like to add in a little bit of milk. It just makes these super good. And then there you go, you could eat these. I know they're not the most beautiful thing in the world, but seriously, they are delicious and they're going to leave you full for hours. Now I'm going to show you the most efficient way of preparing breakfast burritos. You're going to be able to make a ton this way. It's wonderful. So into a big bowl, crack 13 eggs in there. Next, you're going to want to add about 1/3 cup of sour cream. This just adds to the creaminess of the eggs. You don't have to add it in if you don't like to. I also added in 1/3 cup of milk and a dash of salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. I'm going to beat these ingredients together super duper well. Now I'm adding in 3 cups of frozen potatoes O'Brien, and if you don't know what potatoes O'Brien are, it's pretty much just like frozen potatoes with peppers and onions to add some more flavor. And then I added in 1/3 cup of salsa, and I'm going to stir this together really well. I pulled out my 9x13 baking dish, and I am going to spray it with nonstick spray just so the egg doesn't stick to the pan. And then you are going to add the egg mixture right in there. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 35 minutes or until the egg has set. Now I'm going to show you my trick on how my family likes to make our bacon. This is my favorite way to make bacon when I'm making like a large batch of it. So I pull out a sheet pan, I line it with aluminum foil for easy cleanup, then I top it with a wire rack. If you don't have a wire rack, that's perfectly fine. Now pull out your favorite bacon and you are going to twist it. I learned this trick years ago and I have been been making my bacon ever since when I do my meal preps like this, just because it really does cut down on time and it makes your bacon extra crispy and it makes extra room on your sheet pan for more bacon. So I like to bake it on 350 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes or until the bacon is crispy. But once my bacon has completely cooled down and my egg has cooled down as well, I just cut the egg into smaller pieces just like this. Now I'm going to place tortillas on my countertop. I'm using the large burrito sized ones, but you could make these burritos smaller and just use smaller tortillas. Now it's time to assemble the burritos, so add a little bit of cheese, the egg, followed by a couple pieces of the bacon, or you could add any of your favorite breakfast burrito toppings in. And I do want to let you know, years ago, meal prepping breakfast like this just totally scared me and I didn't know how to do it. So over time, I have just taught myself how to meal prep breakfast easy, and I taught myself this little trick to make breakfast burritos. So you don't have to cook the egg and the potatoes separately, and it just makes it really easy. So I definitely recommend these breakfast burritos. They're really easy to make. So after you fill up your burritos, just roll them up like this. And then I do like to wrap the burritos in a little bit of wax paper and then aluminum foil just to prevent them from getting freezer burnt in the freezer, but they'll last in your fridge up to a week and then your freezer up to 2 months. After you've wrapped up all of your burritos, just place them in a gallon-sized freezer bag, and there is a difference between the freezer bags and the regular bags. The freezer bags just hold up a little bit better in the freezer. They don't break as easy, and then they keep the food fresher, in my opinion. But the way that I like to reheat them once they are frozen is I just like to grab a microwave-safe plate and then just place the burrito on the plate after you remove the foil and the wax paper. I microwave it for a couple of minutes until it is hot in the center, and then there you go. You have your beautiful burrito to enjoy. You guys, the secret is out. This is how I meal plan for my family, and this makes it really easy on me. So you were able to get your meal plan today. Just click the link down below in the description box below the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.